Hey, everybody, and welcome. Welcome. I'm going to give people time to come in, and I'm going to come back to the first beginning of our presentation. Welcome. And while you are coming in to this live, I'd like you to grab a pen and paper because you are probably going to want to take a lot of notes. And I will be recording this, but I think you'll want to capture things live. So go ahead, grab a cup of tea or whatever you would like, and a pen and paper. And we are going to get started. So in about half an hour or less, you have everything you need. You have the recipe to turn self-doubt into confidence. And I just got off a call with a client just a few minutes ago. And we were talking about how she was thinking that, does anybody not have self-doubt? And I said, not really, but it's how you manage it. And how you manage it so that it's not running the show, but true confidence is running the show. So let's get started. Probably you already know, I am Denise Renee Green, founder of Brilliance Inc. and author of Work-Life Brilliance. And here's what we're going to do. By the end of this, I want you to understand why we act against our own best interest. And I want you to learn the 4 reasons why we stay stuck so you can finally move through those things. And then I'm going to give you the recipe. This is the proven recipe that will help you end self-doubt so you get the success and the confidence and the peace you want. Because even if your life looks good on paper and you have the things you want, if you don't have peace, then it's not worth it. So first, let's just make sure you're in the right place. If you don't have one of these go-to saboteurs, then you probably don't need to listen to this. So I've come up with a list of 12. And you let me know which is your go-to. Is it number 1, perfectionism? Is it number 2, procrastination? 3, failure to prioritize? 4, overworking. And by overwork, I mean more than 45 hours a week. Number 5, distractions like TV, news, social media, email. Number 6, staying quiet in meetings and letting others talk. 7, scripting out what you want to say, especially at the next meeting or executive presentation. Number 8, saying yes when you mean no, otherwise known as people pleasing. Number 9, overindulging, numbing out in things like food, drink, TV. Number 10, sleeping less than you need because you're working or because you're stressed. Number 11, sitting too long. And if you're not getting up every 20 minutes, you're probably sitting too long. And if you're not standing most of the day, like I'm standing right now with my adjustable desk, you are sitting too long, which will literally shorten your life, but it will also create immense back pain. Number 12, worry, overanalyze, overthink. I'm just lumping all of those together. If you want to separate them out, you can. And of course, there is number 13, which is just all of the above. So these are pretty common, and they sabotage us in multiple ways. They sabotage our health. That's our physical health. They also sabotage our emotional health. They sabotage our relationships, both our professional relationships and our personal relationships. And they stunt our career growth and our income potential. And they stagnate our human potential. So, of course, we are not trying to sabotage. We are doing these things for a good reason, either because they feel good in the moment or we think that maybe they're going to help. And here's why we do it. Why we all succumb to these sabotaging behaviors, it's fear. Our brains are wired for fear. We have 5 times as many neural processes for negative thinking as positive thinking. And it's not because your brain is trying to hurt you, it's because it's just trying to keep you alive. And we still have the same operating system, the same fear-based primitive system that we had when we were tribal, roaming in groups, looking for food to survive. So it has not been upgraded for our modern lifestyles. So if you don't do something about it, you will constantly be run by fear. And here are the 3 fears that scientists point to. that make it hard for us to achieve our potential. And the first one they call social pain. I call it FOPO, and that's just the fear of pissing someone off. Sometimes it can be pissing anybody off. You just don't want somebody to be mad at you. Status pain is particularly about pissing off the most senior people, and I call it FOMO, which is the fear of messing up and then not measuring up. And so we have these hierarchical organizations with status levels and promotions and bonuses and performance ratings. There are status pain threats all around us. I mean, heck, if your neighbor buys a new car, you get a status pain threat like, uh-oh, I'm driving the Prius and he's got the Tesla. What's wrong with me? And then there's change pain. Your brain doesn't want you to change. I don't care how bad your habit is, your brain doesn't want to change. And I call this FOGA, the fear of getting off your ass. So if you are a couch potato, your brain does not want you to take up exercise. And the flip side of that is true. So if you are already exercising, then your brain doesn't want you to stop because that would be change. So the trick is to work with these fears and figure out how to work around them. So here is why we stay stuck. And I think there are 4 primary reasons that most of us stay stuck. And the first one is we wait to change until we feel ready. So until the arm actually falls off, we're not ready. So the way we overcome this is to not wait until we're ready, but to just make a decision that it's time to change. Once you make that decision, you act from that place. Now, you're still going to be afraid, and that's what courage is all about. Courage is just the act of deciding to do something while you're afraid. And you can think back in times when there was a big payoff for this. I love this picture I'm showing in the slide of this little tiny girl, this little 2-year-old girl climbing a rock wall, and her dad is supporting her. And I bet you that first step was really terrifying for her. So 2 things are happening. First, she decided to do it, and she has a good strategy, right? You don't just want to climb a wall without a harness or without a backup. You need to have a strategy. So reason number 2, why we stay stuck. We don't know why it's worth doing. Now remember, FOGA, fear of getting off your ass. Your brain does not want to change. So you got to give your brain a really good reason why it's time to change now. And your brain just cares about 2 things, moving toward pleasure and away from pain or away from danger, which is a certain kind of pain. So you can leverage pleasure if you want by asking yourself questions like this. What would my life look like if I stopped sabotaging myself and was truly confident and joyful? And then you can get creative about what that would look like. What would it look like? How much more money would I be making? Where would I live? How much free time would I have? And what would I be doing with that free time? How much more sleep would I be getting? And then how much exercise would I get because I was well rested? But the sad news is that your brain is more motivated by pain than it is by pleasure. I mean, just think about that. If you put your hand on a hot burner, it's going to move very quickly. So if you really, really want to be motivated, make your why have to do with pain. So you can ask yourself, what will happen if the next 5 years are like the last 5 years, or whatever time frame you pick? And then looking forward, what will happen if I never fix this? When you think about taking your last breaths, and when you think about the regret, that final regret that you might have from never changing this pattern, that is usually a very good motivator. The reason number 3 why we stay stuck is that we try to fix this on our own. And here's the thing. We tell ourselves, I should be able to fix this. I have a master's degree or a PhD, or I'm smart and I have ears and I've listened to 1,000 books on CD or Audible. So I should be able to fix this. And so we try. We dabble. We read. We listen. We take classes, but we're not quite sure how to implement this strategy in our life. So we have fears, like, how do I say this to my executive team? And we don't know how to apply it to our life. So we give up and we go back to where we were, but now we feel worse because we're smarter and we still didn't do it. So the 3 reasons why so far, I just want to review these really quick. We stay stuck because 1, we wait until all of a sudden one day we wake up and we feel ready to do it. 2, we don't have a good reason. We have not convinced our brain that this is the time to change this. And 3, we try and fix this alone. Reason number 4 why we stay stuck is that we start in the wrong place. We start with something we learned in a book or a class, some strategy. So let's think about this. Has anybody ever wanted to lose weight? And so you took on a strategy that was proven, like burn more calories through exercise and eat fewer calories by cutting back on what you eat. That is a well-known strategy for weight loss. But if you ever tried it and it didn't work, that is because you skipped ahead to step 3. Strategies are step 3. And I think Tony Robbins said this best when he said, breakthrough, that is massive change, depends on first your state, then the story you tell yourself, and then your strategies. So if you have not fixed your state and story, the strategies will not stick. You won't be able to use them. And so this is why with my clients, I don't even open up the learning modules about strategies until they have changed their state and their story to be one that will be congruent with the strategies. So let's talk about state. This is how you are physically, energetically, and emotionally. Now, right now, you're probably pretty relaxed. And that's what we want for an optimal state. Ideally, you are breathing easily. Have anybody ever noticed that you're breathing shallowly in an important meeting or a presentation? You know how it goes when you're not breathing well. The person with the most relaxed breathing cadence, I think, will be the wisest and the one who exhibits the most leadership in any venue, the one who has the most influence, credibility. Okay, so we want to be breathing. We want to feel our feet, not just be in our head. We want to feel our whole body, and we want to be relaxed, not tight and contracted. Look at your next Zoom call and see how people are sitting. Are they contracted, or are they sitting back in a big posture and relaxed? And then emotionally, our state needs to be at a minimum one of acceptance. Yeah, this is happening. Not, oh, I can't believe he said that. Just, yeah, okay, he said that. And ideally, you want to be excited. Like, let's say you have to give an executive presentation. You want to be excited and grateful that you get to be the one to do it. And then you want to be confident. That feeling of, I got this. Yeah, I can do this. No problem. That is what I mean by an optimal state. When somebody is in this state, they're going to be more likely to accept a strategy, but they need one more thing in place. They need the right story. Now, 2 people can look at the same situation, be in the same meeting, and have very different stories about what just happened. So, unfortunately, because of our fear-based brain, most people tell tragic stories all the time, as if they're true, when they're just their point of view. So here are some of the most common tragic stories people come to me with. I cannot disappoint anyone. I cannot make a mistake. I have to have all the answers. And it boils down to some version of I'm not good enough. I'm not advanced in my career enough. I'm not prepared enough. I'm not qualified enough. Some version of I'm not good enough. And these stories are what trap us, not our circumstances. That's because circumstances results don't just magically happen. It's because of the thoughts that we have. So overnight, somebody didn't come in and move the buttons on all my pants during the shelter in. No, something else happened where maybe I had a thought was, you know what? I'm bored. I think I'll go grab a snack. And then it led to that. So, but let's talk about that example I've been using. Let's talk about an executive presentation. A lot of people come to me and they have beliefs that They have to have all the answers. I had a woman, she was working in a very male-dominated industry, and to make matters even more difficult, she was presenting every week to PhD potential customers. And these were multi-million dollar deals on the table. And she was a minority. And so she was the only one of her in the meeting with usually white, older male men with PhDs. And she had a story that was, Denise, I cannot miss a beat. I have to have all the answers to the questions. Meanwhile, these are PhD physicists. And so her emotions were fear, worry, dread, anxiety, which is a collection of emotions. And her actions would be to work all weekend, to work nights, to wake up in the middle of the night and think about it and not be able to go back to sleep. And results that was producing was, well, she had high blood pressure, she had a rapid heartbeat, and she never saw her husband. She couldn't even remember the last time she took a vacation. So that is how we get our results. It's by the story that we tell ourselves. And here's the problem. A lot of people learn to come up with positive affirmations to tell yourself. I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. Whatever your version of your affirmation is. But the problem is, pretty thinking will not change your brain. And the only way for this to work, for thoughts to actually change your state and your actions so you get different results, the only way is if you believe them and if you feel them. So let me tell you what I call the belief upgrade system. It's simple, but not easy to do. So this involves working with a partner where first you identify the most painful story. And even doing that is hard because it's so deep in your non-conscious brain that you don't even notice it. But it is usually some version of an I'm not good enough story. But what we need to do is find the exact worst phrase that your brain is telling itself, because that is the operating system. It's like malware in your brain, and it is affecting all of the programming. And that is why you're behaving the way you're behaving. So we find that, and you don't want to stay there long because it does not feel good when you identify this thing. You'll want to change this very quickly. So then you want to brainstorm antidotes to it, what I call upgrades. Different thoughts that could be an antidote to this. And you know it works when you hear it and you immediately feel peace. So you go from this highly agitated state when you learn the true belief that is running your brain's operating system to immediately a state of peace when you hear its upgrade. And the next thing you have to do is feel what is happening in your body when you believe that thought instead of the evil thought. Now, notice how well that evil thought is keeping you small. And that's all your brain is trying to do, keep you small and safe. It's not trying to be your bully. It has implanted this thought in your brain so that you will make small choices, not get noticed, not piss anyone off. But you know better now. You know you don't need it. So now you are going to feel in your body, because the only way to create a new neural pathway, and this is what we're doing, we are literally reprogramming your brain, and we need to lay down millions of this neural pathway, these synapses, to create these neural pathways, which are otherwise known as beliefs and habits. We need to outpace the old story. So you have to feel it and think it. Affirmations you will not feel. They will not create what we call emotions in the body, which are chemical vibrations in the body. You have to believe it, feel it, and then repeat that combination of thought and feeling over and over and over. So this is where you get to pick a cue to help you remember to do that. A lot of people put Post-its on their bathroom mirror, but that's not enough. You have to have a timer on your phone, or something on your refrigerator, or a Post-it on your computer, or some people put their upgrade into their password so that every time they have to enter their password, they stop, they take a breath, and they feel the words they just typed. Okay, so now you have the right state, you have the right story. Now I can give you a strategy. So I'm going to give you the 3 that actually work. And there's no faking involved. So instead of faking confidence, we're going to leverage authentic strengths. Instead of going from being the expert with all the answers, we're going to leverage radical curiosity. And instead of overworking and over-preparing, we're going to leverage strategic laziness. So let's just talk a little bit about each of these. So the first one, leveraging authentic strengths. So we're never going to fake confidence again, and you're never going to focus on building weaknesses again. Now, here's the thing. In the animal kingdom, animals know they can't compare to others. Tigers aren't going to try and be more like lions because they will die. Animals have to obey their strengths. So stop trying to pretend you're someone you're not, and you can be inspired by other people. Somebody just gives a great presentation. Instead of saying, oh God, I suck compared to that person, you can just say, what is it that I liked about that? And what of that do I want to borrow? And then you have to find out what makes you unique and double down on that. Because if you try and build on weaknesses, 1, you're not going to have fun. 2, you're going to quit. 3, it's not going to work because you cannot turn weaknesses into strength. Now, that doesn't mean you can't work on weaknesses just so they aren't derailers and fatal flaws in your career. But you want to double down on your strengths because research has shown that that is the only way to become one of the top performers. And it's the only way to be happy. You were given these strengths by whatever created you, and they're there for a purpose. You just take advantage of them because you don't even realize it. They come so easily to you. Like my client, Valerie. She took for granted her empathy, her attention to quality and service, and her listening abilities. She would just call that introversion. And she knew that she could be a big asset because she wanted to be more of an asset in the company, but she didn't know how. And she always eyed this role in sales, but she never thought she was good enough because she's not an extrovert like you need to be in sales. Well, that was just a story. When she realizes that her strengths could be very valuable to clients, she went for it. She changed her beliefs around what was valuable, and then she went for it. She got the job, and now she's the head of sales, and she is rocking it, and her customers love her. They eventually become her clients. So the next shift is about going from having all the answers or thinking you have to have all the answers to radical curiosity, no matter how long you've been in a company. So radical curiosity is such a superpower. First of all, it turns off your anxiety. When you go from having all the answers or thinking you have to have all the answers to this, the anxiety melts away. And this is the key to influencing anybody, no matter how different in age, gender, race they are from you. And this is how you propel your reputation in your career. And this is how people who are new to a company can propel themselves. And it's easier for them to not have to fake this because they genuinely are curious. They don't know enough. Or it helps veterans who have been passed over again and again get unstuck and propel their career. And the reason we don't make this shift is because we have this lie, this belief that executives want me to have all the answers. But that is not true. And if you're an executive, you know this. Executives want a conversation partner who can stand on their own, who is curious about what's in the executive's head and is confident enough to ask questions and to admit when they don't have the answer, who is a great listener, who asks follow-up questions, who shares their opinions, even if they're different from the executive. This makes the executive make better decisions, and that feels really good. And it's hard because they're getting lots of people pleasers. So they are going to look forward to talking with you, and one of the only ways to do that is to elevate you in your career so they get more time with you. I'm going to grab a drink. So now you're the person that executives want to talk to. Excuse me. So this reminds me of Kathy. She was new to her role, and it was a huge promotion, and she was panicking in executive meetings. They had all known her before in a different capacity, and now she's feeling the need to over-prepare and over-deliver and have all the answers. And that was creating tremendous anxiety. And that was creating symptoms. And that was causing her to wear a heart monitor and not drive on the freeway because she was afraid she might crash and die and orphan her daughter. That's how extreme this can land in your body, this need to be perfect and have all the answers. When she found her belief upgrade, it all melted away. The fears melted away, and then the strategies she was using melted away because they didn't make sense anymore. And she went from spending at least 20 hours a week wasted, either worrying or over preparing for meetings. She got that time back, and then she started actually having fun in these executive meetings. And the true her came out, the one who was genuinely helpful, creative, funny, empathetic, and a good listener. And not only did she get a promotion soon after this, but she's still working less than 45 hours a week, even with the promotion. She dropped more than 25 hours out of her week, even though she has a promotion. And that is not an unusual story. Most of the people who come to me because of severe anxiety, because of stress, they are troubled with some kind of cardiovascular situation or autoimmune situation, something that has been triggered by stress. So this is the key to abolishing overwork. And that's why I don't even teach somebody time management skills until I help them with their state, their story, and then strategies. And often I hear, like I just did last week with one of my clients across the globe, she said, Denise, by the time I got to your lessons on time management, it was all sorted. She said it was all sorted out because I didn't have the stories anymore. The last strategy is to go from overworking to what I call strategic laziness. Again, I don't have to teach animals this because they know if they don't rest, they won't be able to hunt. And if they can't hunt, they will die. So this is going to help you also abolish overwork and become more productive and avoid burnout. Now, we don't have to teach athletes this either because they know if they overwork, they're going to injure themselves and then they can't do their sport anymore. So whether you're an athlete or not, just a corporate athlete, you have to rest 10 hours per day. That means between 6 and 9 hours of sleep. Only you know what you need. I wish I needed less than 8, but that is really what I need. You have to move frequently, at least every 20 minutes. You have to hydrate with water. Some say a gallon a day, and preferably with lemon in it, so it's alkaline. You have to eat greens, a lot of them. You have to respect your rhythms. Most people get very tired in the afternoon. Don't try and do your best thinking time then. And you have to abandon perfection. Athletes know that they make as many gains from mistakes as they do from wins. Sometimes even more learning happens from mistakes. So we're going to go, instead of trying to be perfect, we're going to go for MVP. Minimum viable product is what it is in the business world. Apple doesn't wait until the iPhone is perfect to get it out. It's going to have a few bugs, but they get the product out and then they gather data and they work on the new one. So you need to stop waiting for things to be perfect. And in medicine, it's minimum effective dose. It's the most or at least medicine we can give you to cure the symptoms without poisoning the body. So if you don't want to poison your body with work, you have to go for minimum effective doing. That's what I call it, minimum effective doing. This is how you're productive without breaking your back. So I had a client who comes from an engineering background. Now, in engineering, there are some things that need to be perfect. Like if you're going to build a building or a bridge, please get that math perfect. But other than that, there is no such thing as perfectionism. So Amy had moved out of the engineering field and into the product marketing field. Now, there's a lot of gray space there, a lot of creativity, a lot of opinion, right? So she had to turn off her A+ engineer mind, and I had her aim for what would feel like C-level work. Now, she understood it intellectually, but it did not feel comfortable for her. And it really didn't feel comfortable when she had her team also adopt what felt like C-level work. But they did it, and they were the only team that was able to take the day off before the big executive strategy presentation. But they did, and then they gave their presentation, which looked very different from all these other 100-page PowerPoint decks that never actually resulted in something material. Her team's was very quick, to the point, short, not a lot of slides, and it was the only one to be accepted. And now she and her team are in charge of reviewing everybody else's strategy plan before it ever goes to the CEO. And she said, Denise, my whole life, I've been doing A+ work when actually C work is the A that executives want. So she gets it now. So let's review where we've gone. This is not haphazard. The people who are truly confident followed a certain path. First, they knew why they needed to change their ways. And believe me, we all need to change our ways because we are not taught this stuff in school. If anything, schools have us trying to be perfect, trying to have all the answers, getting gold stars, and that's not how the world works. So you need to know why this is the time and then just decide to do something about it. And then instead of trying to figure this out on your own, you have to get the right help. And then before you use any strategy, you have to optimize your state, your physical, mental, and emotional state. And then you have to identify the stories that are holding you back and upgrade them so that you don't have to fake it and work against your beliefs. And then you have to use 3 strategies. And just again, they are leveraging your authentic strengths. No more faking, no more building on weaknesses, embodying radical curiosity. No more thinking you have to be the expert in every situation, and embracing strategic laziness, which there's nothing lazy about it. It's just humanness, respecting your humanness. And when you do these things, something amazing happens. The real you, not the fear-based you, but the real you. I like to think that our brains want to keep us safe, but they are in conflict with the true us, our soul. Our soul wants us to live up to our potential. And I believe that we were put here on earth not to suffer, but to soar. And I believe it is possible to have what I call work-life brilliance, where all aspects of your life are wonderful. Because I don't want you to just work less and make more money. I want you to do that and have amazing relationships, to have amazing health, and to have amazing surroundings in your home. So you feel on a daily basis like you are living in a state of peace, calm, joy, and pride. And it is possible. I see it happen every day. And ironically, the people who are suffering the most usually make the biggest and fastest transformation because they are highly, highly motivated. So you have to check in with yourself. You know you are ready and done suffering when you answer that question, what will happen if I never change this? And if you ask yourself the other question, what if the last number of years, what if the next future number of years are like the last number of years? When the answer is, I am not prepared to live on like that any more years, any more days, then you know it's time. You're done suffering. If you're not done suffering, let's be honest with yourself. Nope, nothing's broken yet. But I believe that life is short. And just in the last 4 years, I have had 2 near-death experiences. So I can guarantee that the sun is going to come up tomorrow, but I cannot guarantee that I'm going to see it. And I cannot guarantee that you're going to see it. And so this is about something bigger than work-life balance. It's not about the hours you work. That matters, but that's just one small, tiny piece of this. So if you want my help with this, yes, I have resources on my website. Please feel free to check those out. And there is a link right here. And this is a way to book a call with me. So if you are a talented female professional and you're listening to this and saying, okay, I get it. I understand that this is the recipe. I want this recipe right now, but I'm not sure how to do it on my own. If you want to strategize with me about how to make this happen, you can go to this link. It's go.oncehub.com/poweryoursuccess. That's go.oncehub.com. That's spelled ONCEHUB. And then it's power your success. That's all one word. Because right now, when you're in this contracted state of fear, you are not powerful. But your true state is one of power. So let's get you back into that state. You can book a private call with me. I did just get some press recently for this, so these spots are going faster. So please grab yours now at go.onehub/poweryoursuccess. And if you're not done suffering or you're not meeting the criteria for booking a call with me, please check out my website and see if you can get some resources. There is an excellent free resource on my homepage. A lot of my clients have it on their mirror, they have it behind their computer, and it helps them shift their thoughts quickly. So that is, the website is worklifebrilliance.com, and there's a dash between work and life. And it's not balance, it's brilliance, work-lifebrilliance.com. And I love talking to people. I love hearing your stories. I'm a great listener. And believe it or not, we laugh a lot on these calls. Sometimes there are tears, sometimes there are laughs, but there's always deep insight and clarity at the end of it. And that is the outcome that I promised you. If I can't help you, if I'm not the person who can help you, I am definitely going to steer you in a better direction. I have a huge network of amazing, heartfelt people who help people do any number of things, whether it's find jobs, quit drinking, learn presentation skills. I have a lot of people. So I never know what's going to show up on my calendar and what's going to present itself as the major problem in your life. But we will figure it out together and we will get you through it because life is short. And I am committed to using my strengths to help people reach their full potential. So I look forward to talking with you. And again, that's go.onehub.com/poweryoursuccess. Thanks for spending this time with me. And I hope you have a beautiful, restful rest of the day. And please take a nap if you get tired. Bye, my friend.